NXT on Tuesday was the fallout from War Games and likely the final night in an NXT ring for Johnny Gargano and Kyle O'Reilly. Both were left laying in their respective segments by a member of the 2.0 crew. So they both have openings to return and seek revenge, but for O'Reilly, he lost at War Games. He lost again 2 nights later in the cage match. Dude is done. And it's the right call to make. Gargano, I'm less sure of. His contract has officially expired as of Friday. And he's free to go and do whatever he pleases, but his immediate future looks to be a few months off to prepare for the birth of his son. After O'Reilly and Von Wagner lost to Imperium at War Games, Wagner tried to attack O'Reilly. He got foiled and laid out on his ass. Von Geek. So on this show, it was Kyle's turn to return the favor and put the big guy over and do the honors on his way out of the territory. Inside of a steel cage, Von Geek caught Kyle with a low blow. He threw him into the cage a few times before putting him down with a twisting double underhook suplex. After the match, he put O'Reilly upside down in a tree of woe by the cage door. He slammed the door on him a few times. This was their way of writing Kyle off of television. The next day, O'Reilly tweeted, "Truly overwhelmed by all of the love and heartfelt messages. By no means does this mean goodbye, just smell you later." Apparently, O'Reilly has a kid on the way as well. We knew that about Johnny Gargano, but until this week I did not know that that was the case for him too. Dave Meltzer says that those at NXT, I don't know who these those are, I would love to know who these people are who think this. They are under the impression that both men will be back. Yes, much the same way they expected Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole, no doubt, would be sticking around. We all know how that worked out. These people are completely delusional if they think that both of them are going to be back. One of them maybe. But both of them, there is no way. There's no way. They were both offered deals to stay. They turned them down. They allowed themselves to hit the free agent mark. And both men are going to be in demand. It's not like they won't receive any offers. There is no chance that we see both of them back in an NXT ring with new contracts. There is no future for Kyle O'Reilly in this new NXT. If anything, he would go to the main roster. And let's be honest here, there is no future for him on the main roster. I know some people think that Kyle should be staying as a single and going for singles championships. I said on the podcast years ago that I thought that he would make a great Intercontinental Champion one day on SmackDown. I mean, that had to be going back, I don't know, 4 or 5 years I probably made that comment. And I could still, in a perfect world, I could picture Kyle O'Reilly really killing it with some of the people on that roster and having a really, good run. A solid run as the Intercontinental Champion on that show. But then things happened, and I don't feel that way anymore. I believe we are getting a Red Dragon reunion. The only question is when. Winter is coming. In less than a week. Not in New York, it's not. It was 62 degrees here yesterday. But all you folks in Texas, bundle up. Winter is coming this Wednesday, and it would be a fine place for Kyle to show his face. They built the entire show, though, around Johnny Gargano, and that's what we'll end with here. Johnny Gargano, who just wrestled his first War Games match in all the years he has spent in NXT, all the great takeover main events and championship matches, and all the people he's been in the ring with, he's never had a War Games match until last weekend. And they built this entire show around the idea of what is Johnny Gargano going to say? What does his future hold here in NXT? And he came out as he did at War Games to his Rebel Heart theme, which is a great babyface theme song. And if he ever leaves, I will be very sad that, well, I guess he's already left. But if he doesn't come back, I will be sad about one thing. I think that theme song is perfect for him, and he won't be able to take it with him if he goes somewhere else. But he said he didn't write down anything because he didn't want to think about what he was going to say. He wanted it to be organic, basically. He said he first came to the Performance Center in 2015 for a tryout, where he was told he would never make it to NXT. And William Regal brought him back for a dark match against Apollo Crews, and the crowd chanted Johnny Wrestling so loud they kept bringing him back, even without a contract. They kept bringing him back. He talked about having self-confidence issues throughout his life and being a chubby 8-year-old wrestling fan. He said people ask him why he's been in NXT for so long. He says it's because I love this place. He said change can be scary, but sometimes it has to happen. The crowd did not want him to go. He admitted that he doesn't know what his immediate future holds. He has not yet made a decision. He may do something here and something there. But in February, he's going to become a dad, and that is the most important thing to him right now. And while he was in the middle of this heartfelt speech, Grayson Waller hit him in the back with a steel chair. He threw him out of the ring, he wrapped the chair around Gargano's neck and sent him forward into the ring steps. And then Waller cleared off the announce desk. He was yelling at Vic Joseph, who is best friends with Gargano in real life. And he powerbombed Johnny through the table as the crowd chanted, "Piece of shit," at him as they went off the air. If you're going to send this man off, you use it to try to get over one of your newer talents. And that's what they did with Grayson Waller here in this segment, like they did with Von Wagner earlier in the show. Waller at least has some personality. Wagner's about as personable as a piece of plywood. Waller showed some good fire here in this segment. After they went off the air, Tommaso Ciampa came out. He sat with Gargano in the ring like they did after their match at the Cruiserweight Classic. O'Reilly joined them. I wasn't totally convinced about Gargano leaving. And I'm still not 100% convinced, but I'm a hell of a lot more. I'm like 98% convinced he's as good as gone. Until I saw the photos of him off the air, almost in tears. This was not some put on for the TV cameras. This man was emotional, like he knew it could be his last night there. Gargano is a free agent as of yesterday. He has already relaunched his Pro Wrestling Tees store. He's opened up a Twitch account. He's reopened his YouTube channel. I truly believe that he has not in his heart yet decided what he wants to do outside of testing the market to see what kind of offers he might get. You know, the line in his promo about doing things here and there is what caught my attention, because even before Baby Wrestling is born in a few months, we could see him do a few independent shots. I know he was talking like, I'm not going to do anything until he's born. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to do a shot here and there. It's possible he does some independent stuff even before the birth of his son. Maybe GCW can work out a deal to get him to the Hammerstein Ballroom for their January 23rd show. Right? Bola is at the end of January. The Battle of Los Angeles. Alex Shelley and Leo Rush were just announced for it. Hell, maybe we can get him in House of Glory. But when it comes time to put pen to paper, does he go back to NXT? Does he say, I'll come back, but only if I'm promoted to Raw or SmackDown? And I don't see him doing that, because I believe he was telling the truth in his promo when he said the reason I've been in NXT for so long is I love this place. Does he put his faith and trust, though, in the main roster and put his faith and trust in Vince McMahon to do right by him? Because once he hits the main roster, if that's where he would end up, it isn't Triple H protecting him anymore. It isn't Shawn Michaels looking after him. It isn't Matt Bloom or any of the other people that he thanked during that promo protecting Johnny Gargano and sticking up for Johnny Gargano and speaking on behalf of Johnny Gargano. It's a whole different ball game, and Vince McMahon is the umpire. He's the Angel Hernandez of that game, is Vince McMahon. In a perfect world, he goes to SmackDown and he gets over as an underdog babyface and has great matches with Sheamus and with Cesaro and with Shinsuke Nakamura and with Finn Balor and all these different people, and gets a nice run as the Intercontinental Champion. That could be the next 12 to 18 months for Johnny Gargano. But that's a perfect world that doesn't exist. He plays the babyface in peril in a match better than almost anybody I have seen in years. But he can also play the role of comedy heel like he did with The Way. He can entertain in whatever role they need him in. He could be a very reliable hand for WWE. But does he want to entrust the next 3 to 5 years of his career to these people, given their track record? They blew up NXT because they wanted to get younger. and they wanted to phase out a lot of the independent talent that Triple H signed. Now they're tearing down what Triple H created because they don't think it works. And they want to get younger. Johnny Gargano is part of the old guard that they don't want anymore. So he needs to think long and hard about that. If he signs a long-term deal, he'll be almost 40 by the time it's over. Does Johnny Gargano get called up to the main roster and still have a job in a few years? Or does he end up on the cut list like the 80 other wrestlers they released this year? Because job security is one thing you do not have in WWE. There are a lot of companies where you don't necessarily have job security. And WWE is on that list. And if you're someone from that old Triple H era of NXT, you already know where you stand. And that's not a very safe place to be right now. You know, it's incredible to think about, but Gargano leaving, which at least for now he has officially left, Gargano leaving, he joins a list that also includes, look at these names. Keith Lee, Aleister Black, Andrade, Karrion Kross, Adam Cole, all former NXT champions that are now gone from WWE. I mean, there's always a level of turnover in the wrestling business, but that level of turnover in, world champion level top tier talents is alarming. This isn't about AEW, but I will point out something that Tony Khan said recently, and I think it's very true. He said anybody who signs a contract with WWE is not signing a real contract. It is a temporary arrangement. And look, all contracts are temporary arrangements, but his point was there are people who will work there who aren't sure, whatever the length of their contract may be, they're not sure they'll even be employed next week. That is now a very real fear that people in that company have to have. And it's something with a kid on the way that I'm sure is weighing on Johnny Gargano's mind, Kyle too, I guess. But, for Gargano, it's got to be weighing on his mind, especially when he sees what's happened to friends of his from NXT that are now gone. I know Jim Cornette calls him Johnny Sameface. Johnny Gargano is a fantastic pro wrestler and can tell a great story in the ring. And wherever he lands, whoever wins the Johnny Gargano lottery, I hope they realize that.